Oh, it is that time once again. It's 8 o'clock on a random
Mm.
weekday. It is PS Comics. I love you. And as always, to my left, to my right, wherever he is, depending on the
Yeah, man.
program that we use, JR is being texted by his many adoring fans, mostly female. He
Mm.
is JR
Mm.
Coogan,
Hey, how y'all doing, huh?
the Dark King, the DK,
Okay. Yep.
the Batman to my Robin.
Hey,
Because he can't be Robin. He doesn't slide down bat poles.
Mm.
Not to say that I do, but it was an old joke. I remember I went to a comic book store when I was a kid. A kid, mind you, like 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
And I go in this comic book store and there's these two guys, like total typical comic book nerds, like a couple guys that anyways, so they're argued about probably who shot first or something stupid, probably about how did Boba Fett get out of the Sarlacc pit. And I go, hey, did you hear the news? Like, what? He's like, they're gonna make a Batman and Robin movie. And so mind you, this was like back right after, I think, like right around Batman Forever, maybe before Forever. And one of the guys goes like, and he makes the typical, oh, so they can all slide down the bat pole, and made the gay joke. And I'm just like, do know I'm not like 18. Like I'm, like I said, a teenager, and you're making obscene, not for safe for work jokes. Like, what are you doing?
Man.
So that was the 90s. And so I've always joked about, well, I guess it's not a joke anymore. Robin is gay, bisexual, whatever, but
depends which Robin.
Depends on which Robin, of course.
Yeah.
The bat hole joke was Dick Grayson back in Batman 66.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, again, he is Jared Kambakugan. I am Kevin Pillow at Voice of Reason 23 on all social media platforms, and we've got a ton of stuff to get to. Want to just sweep up some work real quick. First off, thank you everybody who's given us feedback. The comment sections are wide open right now for this show. We appreciate the feedback as we do this show. Appreciate the after hours feedback. And because of that feedback, we're changing it up. And again, it's just a slight tweak to how we're doing this. We accidentally backed into recapping 4 episodes of Boba Fett. We've never done that before. It has nothing to do with our schedule. We plan this.
Absolutely.
We're going to do it more simple. What do we like? What do we dislike? Where does it go from here? And mostly it's going to be this guy because, bro, I am noticing Book of Boba Fett has got a certain animated show creator's fingers all over this. Like, it's like everywhere I look, there's this character's making its live action debut. It was in episode 13 of Clone Wars, and this show was in Bad Batch, and this guy was in Rebels. And it's like, it's like this was written by Dave Filoni or something. So, also too, challenge to the fans that do follow, and we are on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook right now. Hit us up in the comment section. If we make a stupid joke or a bad line or a dad joke, or if JR says something incredibly intelligent, which happens a lot, let us know. Give us a time code or something like that in the comments. Because when we build the trailers, which, by the way, you've seen on our Instagram page, at PS Comics, I love you. I'm digging for hours through, in case of last week, a 2.5 hour show, trying to find something entertaining. I always say something stupid. JR always finds something profound to say, and something borderline controversial, like saying Dune was the best movie of 2021, which we got a lot of feedback from. People were like, bro, I'm going to throw down. Dune, really? And then someone saw it and they're like, bro, dude, Kevin, you're an idiot for not picking Dune. Haven't seen it yet. So there was some controversy in that comment.
I mean, we could talk about doing similarities in the Book of Boba Fett, which is quite evidently there.
I knew there was, because a lot of people have pointed that out. So I want you, because I know you're a Dune fan, and I want you to point that out. And from both the original and the new one, a lot of people are pointing that out, the Book of Boba Fett. And we do know And just real quick to finish it up, and let's just fucking get into it. If you like the trailers, let us know. I post them on my social media at Voice of Reason 23. I post them on our show. It's designed to be fun and promote the show.
Absolutely.
And it's hilarious. And when JR gets a new computer, and of course you can search his GoFundMe account at Arm Day All Day 24
every day.
24. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't have one, but we need to set up a GoFundMe.
But before we continue, my friend, my buddy here forgot another important thing to the show. To my right, or to my left as well, is the one and only Kevin Pillow, the voice of reason, aka the host with the most. Not my Robin, is actually my Superman, because we are. Oh dang it! Oh my God, what's the? They haven't did one in a while. The Batman Superman annual for DC.
And of course, I think Superman usually gets top billing, which is not right. Batman should be the top billing. He sold more books.
It is what it is. Superman. It says Superman, Batman, whatever United, whatever it's called. But like it's the one that introduced Michael Turner version of Supergirl. So again, Most Wanted or something like that. I forgot what it's called. Well, anyways,
something like that, and it's
But yeah, he is a Superman to my Batman. And he's my buddy right here. He's my great friend. Like again, and I gotta give this guy really big props for just the trailer. A lot of things that goes on behind the scenes. Without that, again, I've been really trying to definitely get one. But then I don't know if I talked about it in on stream or just us, or like something always comes up. I have enough money. I have enough money to get it, but then I need new tires, I need you this, I need you that, something, I need people need help with a thing, so you can help out with this. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then I come to find out that the PC that I do want to get, I gotta wait a little bit more because responsibilities, and oh my God, I hate responsibilities. But here we are. Is that
I will say JR right there just reminded me of what is it? Mr. Erickson or whatever his name is, and his lovely bride in the movie Up, where it's like they're putting a quarter in the mason jar, and the window breaks, break it, and let's go. So I broke my arm, No, you're exactly right, and let us know too in the comments below what has been something that you've been wanting to get your entire life, and or even recently, and you're like, I'm gonna save, and all of a sudden
it always happens, man.
Something happens. So let us know what is something that you've wanted to save for a computer, a car, an iPhone, a motorcycle, a drone, something stupid, just whatever. And then what was the dumbest thing that kept you from getting that? Not to say that JR's responsibilities are dumb, but I'm just saying, So, by the way, too, I just noticed what my friend is doing over here, and I'm going to join him, and I'm going to blur my background, even though that did absolutely nothing.
That's awesome right there. We just continue
before we get into this, I share an office with my kids. It's their playroom. Quick story. 2009, we buy this house. My wife and I, no kids, no plan for kids at that point. I was still working for Best Buy. This was a man cave. Had the big 60-inch plasma up on the screen. I had 7.0 surround sound. Notice how I said 7.0. No bass. Couldn't afford the bass. But I Mickey Mouse together a system. Like I had two speakers that were from my mom and dad's original hi-fi system back in the 70s. And it still worked. And I put those as my tower speakers in the front. I had two other speakers that they had from the early 80s that when they thought that the 70s ones went out, they bought new ones. I put those in the back, just had to redo some of the hookups, worked like a champ. And then a friend of mine gave me some bookshelf speakers and a center channel that were just sitting in his garage. Bam, 7.0, just couldn't get a subwoofer. Nothing like playing Call of Duty with that badass system in here. Had a couple of recliners. I had stuff hanging on the walls. I had championship hats from the Lakers heydays with Kobe and Shaq all over. Raider gear when they were good, Dodger gear when they were decent, USC when they were on the run. I was a man cave. And then I had a daughter. Shit. But it is now back. It is my office, slowly but surely. Of course, you can see off to the shoulder there. Those are some David Mack prints, which David Mack, I cannot wait for San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, absolutely.
Which sounds like it's going to happen.
Okay, good.
And it sounds like Amazing Con's going to happen. And David is always a regular, and I can't wait to meet up with him again. He's a cool dude. I had something else I wanted to throw in here. Oh, real quick. Just want to drop this little dime in here. You noticed it on our Facebook page. We are going to talk about this. JR is a gaming nerd. Massive news came out yesterday in the gaming world. Activision, which owns Blizzard, was purchased by Microsoft for $68.7 billion. That's with a B, not an M.
That is the largest buying of a company, acquisition of a company in the gaming gaming history. The second one, of course, is Bethesda, the Bethesda acquirement, which is also from Microsoft.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, and it's huge. It's like, for me, it just continues to say that, dude, I need to fucking buy a PC. Because again, it's going to add a lot more. It's going to add a lot more value to the Game Pass, and a lot of people. There's a lot of PlayStation fans, myself included, right? That's going to have are going to have some hesitations. They're thinking like, oh, does that mean Call of Duty is going to be exclusive to Xbox now? Yeah, most likely. It's most likely going to be exclusive.
I forgot about that.
And people tend to forget. Now,
mind you, it's only half of Call of Duty, because Call of Duty, is franchise. The developers of Call of Duty, it's half done by Activision, and the other half that does the old games. It's not that anymore.
No, it's all done. Activision.
All Activision now. Okay.
It's always been Activision, because a lot of the studio, they have like 3 or 4 studios that do a recurring iteration of Call of Duty every year, right? Yeah, so it's like it's from like Ravensoft, Sledgehammer, and Infinity Ward, as well. I think another company, where they do the new iterations of Call of Duty every single year.
Yeah, the more quote unquote modern warfare / Black Ops version. Now, I thought the old World War II games. Now, back in the day when Call of Duty first started, I think there was a secondary studio that just did those.
That was it. It was Infinity Ward, right? Which was they're the
ones that did Modern Warfare.
They're the ones that did the mainline Call of Duty, right? And then there's the in-house Activision studios, which did the older World War II.
So, anyways,
so it's crazy. It's crazy to think, because like a lot of like, when you look at the plethora of games within the Activision Blizzard,
Call of Duty,
Overwatch,
World of Warcraft,
StarCraft, Diablo, and a lot of times, I wanted to talk about this in a mainline show.
Yeah, no, that's why I said I wanted to throw it out there, and I do want to. It's crazy, and there's a lot of potential, stuff going, because this ties into Blizzard has been a company that Apple has been after for a while, and Apple really wants to get into gaming, and I think this was pardon my French, this was a cock block by Microsoft.
It was also that thing where, like, I wanted to talk about this earlier, because for the listeners who've been following us, I've been wanting to talk about the harassment, sexual allegations, and sexual harassment. That happened within Blizzard, during Activision, during Activision Blizzard, and one of the biggest reasons why Microsoft was able to buy them is because Activision Blizzard dropped so low in the stock value that they were able to buy them, even though it was for nearly $70 billion.
For those crazy to put it into perspective, guys, to put this into perspective of $68 billion. This is round up. Let's just call it $68 billion. Call it $69 billion. I think that's what it was. So 68.7.
It was 69.4 or something.
Okay. So let's call
it basically $70 billion.
$70 billion. Okay. Yeah. Disney bought 20th Century Fox for less. They bought a massive movie studio an archive of some of the greatest films of all time, a streaming service that was launching overseas, okay, multiple different subsidiaries, controlling interest in Hulu, Star Wars Episode 1, boom, mic drop, done. The X-Men, the Fantastic Four, brought back to Marvel Entertainment and in Marvel Studios. $62 billion. Bought a fucking movie studio for $62 billion. Microsoft, a tech company who was 5 years ago was dog shit. And now they are buying arguably one of the biggest gaming companies of all time, Activision and Blizzard, as separate, but of course they merged together. But JR's right. We will talk about this, and of course we're going to start. By the way, for those of you watching this on Twitch, we haven't made a firm decision on where we stand on this. Twitch, you might just get the gaming episodes,
which is fine.
I'm going to let a little secret out. I am negotiating right now. JR doesn't even know this because I think he's okay with it.
Yeah.
I am negotiating with 2 other platforms to get this show streaming on another couple of Facebook pages to get our name out there, and it's going to be massive. And I'm hoping it's going to bring some big things to 2022 and 2023. With that said,
I will say this just to hopefully put a pin on the Microsoft acquisition of Blizzard, right? As well as hopefully give you guys like a small teaser and just salivate over what we will talk about, either the repercussions or what comes out of it, right? So with that acquisition, it turned Microsoft to the third biggest gaming developer / platform, right? Or third biggest developer in the world. Number 1 and 2, Tencent, which
Tencent's up there.
Tencent's number 1.
Tencent's still number 1. Good for them.
Number 1.
I own stock in them.
Number 2, Sony.
Which is going to tie into this, guys. We're going to talk about this. Maybe this will be the main episode this week. Is talking about business mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah.
JR brought up a massive. Go back and watch our Spider-Man episode. JR bullet point put a period on our show last week by saying Into the Spider-Verse live action is going to happen. It's going to happen. He's predicting it. He's going full on Romo Nostradamus, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's putting it down, and I'm telling you right now, he may not be wrong. Why? Sony, the company, the whole enchilada, the TV, the tech company, the gaming company, and the movie studio might be for sale. There are 2 massive names, who are going after it. And yes, one of them is Disney.
Yeah.
And the other one we'll talk about this week. But
I will say though, I don't know if Disney took them back. If Disney took them, they would have to break up another company of theirs though, in order to acquire them. That's what I hear.
I'd have to look more into it. Again, this will be something we talk about on the mainline episode. Which, by the way, this is a bonus episode technically, and people are going like, "What do you mean by bonus episode?" We're not going to make you pay. We're not going to throw this on a Patreon or anything.
No,
yet.
it's just It's
when we get big and we become bougie. Yeah, we'll throw it on Patreon for like $5 or something like that. Or I'm willing to trade. By the way, I'm throwing this out there for whoever swooped on me. Bravo. But shame on you, because the last person who did that, I got my comeuppance. Someone swooped on a 1 in 25 Jenny Frison store exclusive of Faithless Volume 3 Issue 1. I'm not happy. It's a beautiful cover. Jenny Frison is an amazing artist. Faithless has been one of the most underrated series. Marie Levette has done a fantastic job in the internal artwork and some of the story. It's a freaking trip of a book.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, there was 2.
There was 2.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that you were one of them?
No.
Okay, because apparently there are 4 people vying for it, and 2 people got it, and I was told it was 2 people who are long-standing pull list members, and I'm thinking,
one.
First they went, does JR read Faithless? I know he's I know he's a Jenny fan.
I do, but at that time, well, I gotta just kind of expose myself out here. I haven't been buying a lot of the bigger exclusive at the store in a minute because I also got something to pay off for that's coming hopefully in the next couple of months right there, which is fucking hell expensive, but I love it because
it's your gaming chair. We know.
No, it's actually something. Oh, here's my thing.
Go ahead, bro.
When you said what is the most stupidest thing to pay for, I have 2 statues coming in.
It was either statues or you finally pulled the trigger on the chair. And for those of you who don't know, JR, the running joke for nearly 2 years is JR buying a new computer, and he has a good computer. He has a MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
correct. It's a good computer, but for what we do and what we want to do and where it came from at the time, it was top of the line, and it's still a good computer in 2022. But for what him and I want to accomplish, it needs to be a little upgrade there.
Yeah.
And you want to just skip the upgrade and go right to a brand new car.
Basically,
and I remember you called me or texted me. I was at Home Depot one time, and you're like, "Bro, I almost did something stupid. What'd you do?" I almost bought a gaming chair. So anyways,
man, it's fucking hilarious stuff. But yeah, man, just going on to the main topic of tonight. Again, it's the Book of Boba Fett, episodes 1 through 4. Man, I have got to say, this is like one of the most felonious things I have seen in a minute, and I
nice adjective.
Love it. Oh my
felonious.
God,
I'm liking that.
Felonious, dude. Like, it's so freaking, like, I've been telling people, like, Star Wars has always been a combination of East and West, right? It's always been a combination of, it's basically samurais and gunslingers. I fucking love it. Samurais and gunslingers, honestly. In this case, it's a mix. For the Boba Fett series specifically, it's a crazy mix of the gunslingers, the Mandalorians, of course, the gunslingers in this equation, becoming the Ronin, becoming the samurais, right? Ronin, of course, are in Japanese history samurais without masters, right? And how it easily ties into this type of tribal and unification of wanting to become part of the earth, some type of Bushido code, some type of, holistic thinking of the world around you. And that's where we see that journey of Boba coming through. Again, just a small little recap, right? We saw what happened after episode 3. After Boba gets, hurled into the Sarlacc pit. How the hell did he survive that? Well, one, he's Boba fucking Fett. And climbed his ass out of there, tearing through the Sarlacc. And he is in this crazy, weird state, a delirious state. And and of course he gets stripped down by the pillaging and raging other. Tip my tongue. I keep on forgetting the names of them.
Jawas.
The Jawas just tear his stuff apart. Just tear his
Sorry.
just that's not good.
Trigger
just tearing
on that one.
Tearing all his stuff apart, or his armor apart, stripping him of his armor, and then he's going on their way. And you see, I love this particular episode. I love this particular series because we finally get to see, like how Boba became Boba, how we got from point A to point Mandalorian, point episode 3 to point Mandalorian. Where'd that come from? Like, how do you have his fighting stick? How was he? I'm just like losing on my term right now. Greetings, guys. How does he have all this stuff on him? Who was he trained with? And of course, he's trained with the Fremen of the franchise, or of course, actually, Fremen, of course, is a Dune reference for those who have seen us.
There he goes.
Fremen's Dune reference. Oh my God, the Tusken Raiders, right? So it's basically he gets captured by the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
And beat up. Basically, he proved himself, right? One day, coming back with the head he comes back with the head of this gigantic monster, which I don't think I've ever seen. All right, no, we have seen that monster before. Episode 5, Clone Wars prequel sequel.
Yeah, I think someone said that character, which looked a lot like the one of the main bosses from Mortal Kombat.
I mean, yeah, bro. It reminded me. It gave me like throwbacks of like Attack of the Titan, not Attack of Titans. It was the what was that old stop motion, clay motion
I think you're right. Like something about the Attack of the Titans or something like that. I know exactly what you meant. It was like from it was like from the 40s or the 50s, like from the early goings on of like Godzilla movies. Real quick, I have to correct you.
Okay.
You said episode 3. You said that the Book of Boba Fett picks up after it's technically episode 6. I didn't want to get attacked by the freaking mouth breathers living in their mom's basement.
Yeah, I'm going actually chronologically, not chronologically, but I'm actually going from like
the original
actual
trilogy.
Like when, So episode 6 from the original trilogy,
Return of the Jedi,
and the monster that we see him behead in episode, possibly in episode 2 of the prequel sequels, where they all were in that little pit, had to fight these monsters.
Yeah.
When Padme had to fight that tiger-looking monster, and I'm pretty sure I thought Anakin fights something similar to that. Granted, it could have been.
Go back and look. I think I know. That was actually episode 2.
The Clone Wars.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. The infamous movie you hate.
Geonosis.
Yep.
At the factory where they're building more of the robots.
Yeah, they were actually in the gladiator pit. Remember?
Yes.
The gladiator pit, and so that's where I thought that came from. But then no, we just see this awesome transition of Boba becoming one with the people, being accepted. And of course, at this time, he's had these dreams and these callbacks and memories of him and his father back in the water world that I keep on freaking forgetting.
I'll figure it out. I think maybe that was Geonosis, but
possibly the water world that I keep on forgetting with his father.
Camino is where we see Jango Fett and Boba Fett for the first time.
Yeah,
in episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
There you go.
And I was right. It was Geonosis. Yes, I get my nerd card back. Sorry, I'm on StarWars.com. I cheated. I do like the callbacks to Camino.
Yeah, man, it was good, man. But and also you see the fact that you see Boba. It's just weird. It's not weird, but like it's this interesting timeline of like you have him in the present, his timeline, and in the past, right, going into the present. And so that was an interesting take. It was a much more easier take than like let's say Witcher did, right, for this series, where Witcher had to constantly going back at certain timelines and having these weird conjunctions of like where are we at a certain point of the story until it all kind of unfolds in the later part. This one was much more easier to see.
Yeah, and I do like that they used a kind of like a bookmark to tell us that we're going to get a flashback scene, and that was when Boba needed to go in. This goes back to, and we learned this in the last 2 episodes. And I did like this part is for canon reasons and for continuity is he has to go in that pardon me for not knowing the word, but like that tube that we saw similar to we saw Luke Skywalker in at the end of Empire Strikes Back after he loses his hand. And they put him in the tube and blah blah blah. So once he goes in the tube, he is being healed. But that's when he has his dreams and he has his flashback scene. So, and I like that they kind of address that in that they make the comment, and this goes back to JR about the Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi. How did Boba get out? They explain that by saying that they show him he climbed out and he is so damaged, and that's why he looks very white in Mandalorian. In parts of episodes 1 and 2 of this series is because the acid from the Sarlacc pit, and they've mentioned that before, even in Return of the Jedi, that it will devour you, it will digest you for thousands of years. It had already gone through his suit, and they said, and even Finnick had said, had it not been for your suit, you most certainly would have died. So I did like that they kind of they explained all that, and also he climbed out kind of unconscious. Because he had no idea that he was jumped by the Jawas, and that the Jawas have his suit.
Yeah, it's always a cool thing to see where you have callbacks within the franchise, the farther callbacks, and so. But then just going on to like this epitome of like having a daimyo, which again is a Japanese reference of warlords in the feudal era of Japan, where you have multiple daimyos, and him being an honorable daimyo / crime boss / protector of the land / wanting to have his own family because he saw that with the Tusken Raiders and how he was accepted into the Tusken Raiders. And so that was a cool thing to see, how his just development of him being a wholer person with a tribe of the planet. And I freaking like, again, I will keep on saying this until I'm red in the face or until I'm proven wrong with the next couple episodes. Episode 2 is my freaking favorite episode for me.
Okay.
Because it's just from the simple fact of like, I understand that like the tropes and the themes of this film is that it's the typical film of like, stranger comes to town and helps out. He's the Ronin coming into town and trying to help out the city and trying to help out everything else. When honestly he was just trying to take over, which he has done, which was great to see. But him in specifically his more tribal aspects, more native aspects, in episode 2, being one with the people, learning their ways, learning their fighting styles, which is freaking awesome. Reminds me of Eskrima. I'm Filipino, by the way. Eskrima is a Filipino stick fighting technique, right? Even though it looks a lot more brutal, looks more Samoan to a certain extent too, which is great too. Or no, or not Samoan. Yeah, Samoan actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks great in that essence, and in them doing and also him helping the Tusken Raiders after he fights off or basically beats the hell up of a couple of this bikers, a biker gang, basically a speeder gang, and they go just rush this freaking train that has been mowing down their people, this spice train, which is also from Dune because in Dune, one of the biggest commodities in that place is quite literally spice. So it's quite on the nose for a lot of these references, and I freaking love it. I'm glad they're giving homage to the Dune references, to Dune in general, because Dune is an amazing freaking franchise and series, as well as hopefully movie franchise. Now y'all should really either read it or watch it. And yeah, they just take it down, and I love the fact that when they took it down, Boba is like, no, Freemen are the people of the people of the desert. Every piece of sand here. You give it back to them, basically, and like it was so well done. It was so fucking well done. It reminded me very much like to a smaller, simpler extent, Dances with Wolves, where a person becomes part of a.
I did get a little feeling out of that.
Yeah, over a person becomes part of a tribe and understands that it's community. It's a community that molds a person, right? The whole thing of like it takes a tribe to raise a child, type of thing. And so this ideal of raising an individual to be more themselves, and it takes a tribe to do so. You see this within Boba for the majority, or for at least the entirety of the series right now. Wanting to go back, wanting to take Jabba's place, wanting to basically kind of just calm down the land under his command, under his rule, to a certain extent, right? He has yet to become that not bloodthirsty, but very devastating bounty hunter that we've seen in the Mandalorian, or even like Hope, or even we've read about in comics and in other extended universe type of franchises that, of course, he was horribly depicted in the original trilogy. But then, hey, it's whatever. It's fine. We got him now. But it was just like we have yet to see that part of him. He's trying to be more nice. He's trying to be more calm. He's trying to be more civil, which is great to see. And just again, Filoni, Robert Rodriguez are fucking golden.
Oh, absolutely.
Are fucking golden. They oh, go ahead.
I was saying, when the credits rolled on episode 1, I had no idea. I really wanted to go into this show kind of unspoiled, because whether I ended up liking it or I didn't like it, I didn't want to know in advance and be like, yeah, here it comes. It's gonna be trash. Or like, oh, here it comes. I wanted to be like what a lot of people did, and like I did with the final episode. Again, hold on. What a lot of people did in the last episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, I didn't see that coming. I had genuine shock and awe when again, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, when Luke Skywalker made his debut.
Yeah, man.
I was genuinely shocked. And I kind of wanted to do that with this one and didn't read. I mean, I watched the trailer. Yeah. I read a few things. Mostly it was on production, but I didn't read any kind of leaks. I didn't read any spoilers. I wanted to go into this as best I can. And I've had my likes and my dislikes. I will say this. One of the things I noticed right off the bat, and I don't know if they did it on purpose or if it's just a production technique, is it's very slow.
Yeah.
The pace of the show is slow, and the literal show is slow. The fight scenes in the first episode were very slow. Somewhere out there, what's his name from I can't make a joke now because I'm stammering over my own words. The guy who played Iron Fist is going like, bro, dude, I fight better than this. It's gotten better.
I love it.
But then the chase scene at the end of episode 3 was god awful, and I'll say it. But seeing the credits, when the credits rolled on episode 1, I saw Robert Rodriguez was directing. I was like, yes, love it. Go Favreau, go Dave Filoni, and they got it, because to go back to Mandalorian season 2, the pivotal episode of Mandalorian season 2, which included the debut of Boba Fett in the Mandalorian, was where they take Grogu to the temple, and he's in the force field and stuff like that. That was directed by Robert Rodriguez, and that was directed by Robert Rodriguez literally at the last minute. Jon Favreau called all the directors he knew that were available, and he called Robert Rodriguez and said, "Do you want?" And as soon as Robert Rodriguez, of course, you have Jon Favreau's number stored in your iPhone. He looks at it and he goes, "I'm in." He goes, "You don't even know what it's for?" He goes, "It's Star Wars." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm in. I'm on my way. What do you want me to do?" Yeah. I'm in. I don't care what the fuck it is. It's a commercial. I'll do it. And he's been all in since.
Yeah, man. I will say this. I understand the technique of why they want to go a slower pace, because, like, again, they're trying to. For me, I understand the significance of it, because they're trying to be very much Kurosawa in old samurai films, where it's very much that it's a slow take, very methodical, until inevitably it ramps up in the last act, where you get the 100 swordmen, or you get the 100 samurai fight scene.
Yeah.
And you get 7 samurais fighting down a band of bandits, where they converge on one town, which inevitably looks like we're gonna get. Honestly, it looks like we're gonna get 7 samurai again here, where we have the inevitable syndicate. I forgot the name of the syndicate, and their people gonna raise the town in order to get rid of Boba Fett. But it's a possibility with, again, spoiler alert, or for those who caught this, in the end of episode 4, we have a very particular theme that ringed at the very end when Fennec said, "Oh, if you have credit can buy someone if you know what
credits can buy for. Credits can buy muscle.
Can buy muscle, for." And we have a very, very familiar scene that reminded me of the Mandalorian. So it's a possibility that we can see the Mandalorian, Mando, back again. I forgot his Din Djarin. Din Djarin, but the actual actor. That's the thing. I keep on forgetting his name. But let's say Din Djarin comes back for that. That would be amazing, dude. That would be amazing. Or let's say we get Jedi. We get a Jedi for it, because that would be freaking awesome. That would be very typical of a Kurosawa-esque type of film, where you have the literal samurai Ronin come into town and just help you wreck shit up.
Pedro Pascal.
Thank
I had to look it up. It was going to bug me. I think it's going to be a Mandalorian. I think it's going to be someone from the Mandalorian. It's insinuated that it's going to be Mando. It's going to be Din Djarin. But it could be anybody. I mean, it could be
Bill Burr's character.
It could be Carl Weathers' character. I doubt it's going to be Cara Dune, because this was filmed. The Book of Boba Fett was filmed after she was fired. And of course, it's rumored that she is probably going to be back for season 4. By the way, Mandalorian season 3, COVID protocols.
Yeah.
And also, side note, last week, Wakanda Forever went back into production. Letitia Wright is still our Shuri, and Lupita Nyong'o tested positive, and they are shut down for a week. Fuck. And they are pushing it. They are supposed to, literally right now, they are supposed to be in post-production. They have a fall release date for Wakanda Forever. And also, by the way, yeah, we're not going to forget that we saw an amazing trailer for Moon Knight. We will talk about that on whatever main show we get done this weekend.
Yep.
My favorite part so far, I want to talk about this. Just going through the episodes. My favorite part so far, I'm just going to throw this up here. I got to get up on the screen here. So for those of you who are watching this, you're going to get it. For those of you listening, I will describe in just a moment. And then all of a sudden my screen went to the wrong screen. There we go. That's what I need. That's the screen I want, stupid computer.
Of course.
Can't do a Robert Rodriguez product without Danny freaking Trejo, who plays the most Danny Trejo role ever. He's a Rancor trainer.
Yep.
That's how you go machete on Star Wars right there.
Oh,
I popped big time for that when he walked out. I was like, is that Danny Trejo's in the Star Wars universe?
Oh, at first I'm seeing is that Danny Trejo? Of course, that's fucking Danny Trejo. It's a Robert Rodriguez film. Robert Rodriguez. It's basically I'm expecting to see Antonio Banderas. I'm expecting to see a bunch of people. I'm expecting to see Alexa Vega. I'm expecting to see so many regulars of Robert Rodriguez. I'm expecting to see his daughters, man. I'm expecting to see his daughters just come in and roll through somewhere as either an extra or maybe a speaking line.
Well, Robert Rodriguez is in the show.
Yeah,
he was the I have to look it up now, but he was one of the in the meeting of the meeting of the five families. We see in episode 4, which was another great scene because no one freaking noticed that they put the dining room table over the Rancor pit. Awesome. And I know that special effects, there's not really a Rancor underneath the table, but just a great job by Tamara Morrison in his acting. He sat at the table and just was sitting like this when the Rancor, nudges up the floor underneath him, and everyone jumps, and he's just like, no sell. And then he takes a rib or something. He's like, a good puppy, here you go. Good killer freaking 70-foot dog. Yeah. And I love he's by the way, Boba Fett's an animal guy. Who knew?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So many great parts. I'm right there. Episode 2 was fantastic. I liked him training the sand
the Tusken Raiders.
The Tusken Raiders.
The Fremen of the franchise.
And I did like the dream sequence that they explain how he earned the hammer, the stick, the warrior stick.
Oh, good God. That was a crazy trip. That was if that wasn't as most Native American as I've seen,
it was
they had granted the lizards up the nose guiding you through the desert to find a stick scene is very reminiscent to a lot of a lot of native practices or historical practices of them just let's get high in a tent. Let's get high in a tent and just go find ourselves. And I love that, dude.
Perfect timing, and this is not going to spoil anything. But I am still going to throw it up there. I'm caught up on all 4 seasons of Yellowstone, and watching episode 2 of a Book of Boba Fett and him doing his shaman journey, whatever his where he has to find himself. Was very reminiscent to a scene in the final that kind of was a part of both episodes, the final 2 episodes of season 4 of Yellowstone. So I really liked it. And for those who don't know, in Yellowstone, they very much talk about Indian practices and stuff like that. And so what Boba Fett goes on in this kind of this vision quest is what they called it, a vision quest in episode 2. It's very reminiscent to that of a scene, and it's not spoiling anything, but if I'm going to still put the spoiler, it's very similar to something that the character Casey does in Yellowstone, and so I did like the similarities and stuff like that. So it's, and Jared's not wrong. It's like get high and go see where it leads you to.
Yeah, it's like it was a cool scene to see that, and again, you see constant uses of like I see constant depictions of like and an homage to Dune the franchise, where when they said that Tatooine was once a place where it had a lot of rivers or a lot of ocean. In Dune, spoiler, it kind of happens. So yeah,
and by the way,
not doing the original movie, but it happens in the franchise.
And by the way, there is a lot of people that are speculating online when he's made that comment multiple times about Tatooine once being covered in water, that Tatooine maybe is Kamino. And I go, no, dude, do you not watch Star Wars? Tatooine is first referenced in episode 1, where they find Anakin. They find Anakin Skywalker on the planet of Tatooine, a desert planet. And they go to Kamino 15 years later in episode 2. So it's like, no, dude, no. And there's fans thinking, but there are people going, no, it was maybe that Tatooine was a planet similar to that of Kamino back in the Old Republic, and that's what Boba Fett is talking about. So I like that reference. I do like, and I know it's a subtle environmentalist kind of saying, and they're not wrong.
I mean,
but especially since it's freaking 80 degrees in January in the desert. What the?
Here's the thing with that. Like, I always love that. I love that how series like these flesh out a lot of the quote unquote lesser characters, lesser individuals. And Tusken Raiders has always been kind of like a always not just stable, but like always been like, oh, the inevitable bad guys because they look like they look nothing like us, right? They're depicted as like there was once depiction of them being savages, natives. There was depiction of them being Middle Eastern, terrorists. Yeah. I'm fucking happy that they like really fleshed like, no, man, the reason why they're this way is because you're on their land that they've been on for centuries at this point. Yeah, you're on their land killing their people, and all they're doing is just basically trying to feed themselves. And so I love that depiction of of one, a strong ass motherfucker in Boba Fett saying, no, this is their land. They're like, if they know how to survive here, it's their land.
They were very much, I think, you have to ask George Lucas, because there's a lot of people that will say that the Tusken Raiders were similar to tribes of China or Japan that were much like Pakistanis and Afghanis who hid them in hidden mountains. That these were, for a lack of a better term, indigenous savage tribes that were kind of thrown out of main society and had to live on the land. And then, but I do agree with you, JR. I really enjoyed the humanizing, for lack of a better word, in episode 2. And again, I think this goes to a testament to what JR said, is why episode 2 is probably the best one so far. Is you go from there are these sand people. I know it's a derogatory word, but whatever. I'm going to say it because that's what they're described as. They're sand people, and you just realize, no, they're just an indigenous tribe that once lived off the land, and now that the land has been pillaged, they're just trying to make do and make what's best for them. So good
and also I forgot to add the people that has helped quote unquote raise Boba up to this point in the Tusken Raiders, or his tribe at least, right? He leaves after the train, comes back and finds out that the big biker gang, the big the big speeder gang has raised his village. Basically, they figure out like that shouldn't be the case. Something must have happened. But at that point of this point in the series, his village per se was kind of just raised and burned to the ground, and he has done a lot of, he had to do a ceremonial burying or ceremonial burning of a lot of the characters that he has grown to be close to. One particularly the one, not the chief of the tribe, but the basically the strongest warrior, which of course I think was played by an amazing woman stuntsman. So I'm gonna say that the Tusken Raider was, of course, is gonna be a female from that point. And two, it's just like you see motivations behind that. You see Jedi, you see Boba wanting to have a tribe, wanting to have a people to call his own, wanting to know that this is it. Yeah, in episode 4 of the series, he tells Fennec, or no, Fennec says that you've gone soft when you when you want to become this and that, like you being part of a tribe, you've gone soft. He goes, no, I've become strong because I know what it means. You can only do so much by yourself. You need a tribe of people in order to propel you to become better than who you are. And I'm like, that's it, dude. That is it. That is the thing. One person can only do so much alone, and it does take a tribe to raise a child. And that is definitely it. Granted, this tribe's going to probably be a very mafia, bloodthirsty type of thing, or hopefully, hopefully in this context, a very honorable samurai tribe where we have Boba Fett as daimyo, Boba Fett as the leader, and he has a bunch of vassals under him. And the thing we haven't talked about, and I don't know, I think we'll just kind of gloss over, is the newer additions of his tribe, the interesting take of characters and younger generations of like these android it's interesting that we see these type of for me, if they feel out of place, but at the same time it makes sense that they're there, because
very much so.
Like it makes sense that they're, because like how would Fennec survive a gut shot from a blaster in the desert, and how would Boba basically try to fix her? And we basically have these half android, half human characters. No, granted, they look good. They look good. Don't get me wrong. They look fine. It's just that, like, it's just so they look, for me, they look more in tune to a more not robust, but like very like cyberpunk-esque city than they do in the desert dunes of Tatooine. It's like, okay, that's interesting that you're there. It'd be like seeing it would be like seeing a punk goth rocker in a Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah, it threw me off, and it reminded me a lot of the characters kind of reminded me a little bit of Biff and his gang from Back to the Future 2 when they go to 2015. Yeah, that's right. I said 2015. It's 2022.
Yeah, man.
And we are now 7 years past the future in Back to the Future. We still don't have freaking real hoverboards. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Screw the cars. I just want a hoverboard. Not that I'd still fall on my ass. Anyways, yeah, it just kind of
it's interesting.
Took me out because we've never seen anything like this in any avenue. And I was trying to think back to episode 2, the Force, and the Attack of the Clones, when Anakin and Obi-Wan are trying to find the sniper, and of course that's where they find the little and actually, which ends up being Jango Fett, and they're trying to track down actually a little character who gets shot in the neck with a dart, and she shrivels up or whatever. But they go into a club on the city, which is oh my gosh, what's the huge city world?
Yeah, I forget where
it's where the Senate is.
Yeah, oh my god, dude, I forgot too.
Anyway,
I think they would be there instead of Tatooine.
But I'm just saying, is it just reminded me when they go in the club and he goes, you don't want to sell me death sticks. There were some people in there. They seemed very out of place to me. Seemed very out of place in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, they seem very out of place in Tatooine. But Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, David Rodriguez, and all the creators on the show make it so. Show me what's going to happen in episodes 5, 6, and 7. Speaking of which, let's make our predictions. I'm really going down with the rest of the world. And I think with the Pike Syndicate being what seems to be the main villains of this show, and the Pike Syndicate, of course, is the main family that is controlling everything, all the main kind of pipelines on Tatooine, and have basically made the other families get in line. And Boba's like, no, we're not. We're going to get rid of this Pikes because they're bad. They're bad news. They're just pillaging and taking all of our money. Why does that name sound so familiar? Why does the Pike Syndicate sound so familiar? Well, let's go back to a galaxy. Let's go back to a galaxy far, far away, and go back to Solo, a Star Wars movie, and that is where we're introduced to the Pike Syndicate for the first time, and we're introduced to an organization known as the Crimson Dawn, ran by a young lady named Kira, portrayed by the Mother of Dragons herself, and that would be
Clark.
What's that?
Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke, who, by the way, is under contract to Disney, owns Lucasfilms and Marvel Studios. So maybe we see a revision.
Oh my gosh! I hope so.
Kira come back?
Oh my gosh, man! I've been in love with Emilia Clarke for a very, very long time.
She is actually perfectly beautiful, and she is an amazingly talented actress.
Absolutely, man.
Super underrated. I cannot. Please bring hashtag bring Kira back.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's actually
I think it's got really legs.
Cool. I hope so. For me, the biggest one is that I think for me to kind of respect to comic books, I'm hoping because we have Dr. Aphra comes in. Dr. Aphra, I think Kwan, I forgot her full name, but she is of course a very famous character in the comic books, a very famous fan character, very beloved
She's a fan favorite character. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. She comes out in she comes out in Darth Vader episode, Darth Vader issue 3 that came back in like 2016, I think. Right. And
it wasn't too long ago that Dr. Aphra made her debut.
Oh, and like they Aphra Kwan, I think. I think she's gonna finally make appearance in this either this series or like somewhere near the series, because one of the big depictions of it is that her quote unquote sidekick is actually there, and we forgot to mention the motherfucking badass Wookiee that was introduced in this series. I forgot his name, but he's also this Wookiee. To be blunt, man, this Wookiee is a brother. This Wookiee's black. He like his look, his demeanor, his freaking scowl, like bro. If there was quote unquote race within the Wookiee community, you know that this dude was black. You know that this guy has been somewhere. He is definitely has proven himself so many freaking ways. Not only that, but like just the look of him, the type of like
he's black.
He's black. Like, and I said in a good way. I say that in the most not good way, but I say that in the most gracious, uplifting way as I possibly can. Right, like this guy, like hell yeah, like he's no average Wookiee, right?
No,
he's no average Wookiee. This guy has some gumption. He's gonna mess people up, and we've seen him mess people up in episode 4, where in order to get rid of his debt, be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna let this guy down, but I'm gonna tear his arm real quick, and like we see him. He's been one of the long-standing characters in the comic book series, in Star Wars comic books for quite a while now, and that he recently has been teaming with Dr. Aphra, and I feel like we're going to see her eventually, hopefully sometime in this series, if not sometime
there's the
later.
Badass Wookiee right there. I forget what his name is, like Camino or something. It's so funny that you see this guy, and he is a far cry from where we see Chewie or any other Wookiee that we've seen in the Star Wars universe to this point. And the guy who actually created that character, and he was debuted in a comic book, God, I want to say like 2014, I think they said. And the original code name for him was called Nubaka. I just cannot remember for the life of me.
Chrysanthemum.
and he's a gladiator. He is a fighter, and obviously, and it's referenced to in this in this series, in this episode 4 at least. There's not a lot of fighting. There's no more gladiator work because gladiators, like JR mentioned, going back to episode 2 of the Star Wars, the Skywalker saga, going back to episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where you see that gladiator pit that was on Geonosis and was on the outskirts where the Senate couldn't oversee. So gladiator and stuff like that, gladiator work, much like, again, going back to history, and like JR said, with going back to duels with samurais and going back to the movie Gladiator, that was a form of entertainment. It was brutal. It was slavery. And there wasn't in a republic, there was no room for any of that. And now with the Empire has fallen after the conclusion of Return of the Jedi, I think I can't remember who the character's name is. It's Jennifer Beals' character, who, by the way, she does not age. She looks fantastic. I know it's probably makeup, but Jennifer Beals' character, she plays, oh my goodness, I can't find it now. She is Garza Whip. She is basically a club manager in the casino.
Yeah. Was that Jennifer Beals?
That's Jennifer Beals from Footloose fame.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Not Jessica Biel.
I'm thinking of
Jennifer Beals. 80s fame. She was from the movie Footloose, amongst other things. No, I'm glad she's working. She's I'm gonna have to do quick math. She's approaching 60.
Yeah,
good for her. You also know her from the Book of Eli.
Right,
and I believe she was in a Showtime series back in the 2000s. The L Word. She was she was the lead character in the movie The L Word back in the 2000s. So, but yeah,
overall, it looked great. The everything on here, everything so far has been promising. And again, it's been a very slow, methodical start. Right. Hopefully, in the next couple episodes, it kind of just really ramps up because there's an inevitable war that comes through. Is possibly a little bit more of the.
That's Jennifer Beals.
There you go. Yep, of the titular
Star Wars, the streaming version.
Yeah. We hopefully get more of the titular Star Wars type of action that we've come to know. We've saw bits and pieces of that during episode 2, during the inevitable train hijacking. But hopefully we just continue to see that going forward. And again, I gotta say, dude, even though there's a lot of CGI within the series, a lot of good use of practical effects as well.
Yeah, they've used a lot. Again, the only complaint I had really was the chase scene at the end of episode 3. Really just
took you out of it.
I think they were just limited, and they're trying to use that Favreau set, that Mandalorian set, that half soundstage. But like Jared mentioned, absolutely, they have done such a fantastic job utilizing practical effects, going back to the old school George Lucas 1975-76 school of filming. And I know a lot of people will say that George Lucas fell into a trap of doing a lot of CG with the prequels, and I give J.J. Abrams some credit. He stepped back a little bit. He had to use CG where CG was necessary, but he too tried to do a lot of practical effects. But Favreau, Filoni, especially Robert Rodriguez on the first 3 episodes, and again, I apologize for the guy who directed episode 4. A lot of use of practical effects, and I want to applaud them for that. Kevin Tanchorian, I apologize if I brutalized that last name, was the director of episode 4. Real quick, wrapping things up. Again, I've given my predictions. I think that we are going to see the Crimson Dawn come to the assistance of Boba Fett, and I think we're going to see Kira, aka Amelia Clark, return in some form of fashion. One of my favorite parts so far a book of Boba Fett. And I want to close on this, at least for my part. JR, you can more than happy to wrap up with your favorites and whatever. But I want to close on my end on this. One of my favorite parts from the series has gone, for the most part, unnoticed. The way they begin each episode is a previously on whatever, and they explain how we got here. Okay. And then they do a Lucasfilm little animation. And then there's the new Star Wars, because we're not getting the crawl. We're not getting the dun, we're not getting the big John Williams score. So we have to get something. We have to get a little tag here. So much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Marvel Studios opening signature, we get a quote Star Wars signature, and it shows, C-3PO, R2-D2, Kylo Ren. It shows Din Djarin. It shows a bunch of different helmets and heads in the signature. And the very last one. Now, Boba Fett's helmet is in there as well. Okay. But the very last helmet added to the signature, deservedly, is Fennec Shan's. It is Ming-Na Wen's character being added to the signature.
Good.
For the most part, I'm thinking about all the helmets and heads that are in that thing. The only female character. It's a testament to Ming-Na's resilience as an actress, her power, her just the respect that she has in this community, between being the voice of Mulan in the original animation, portraying a different version of Mulan or another character in the live action, of course, playing Agent Melinda May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and now playing a badass character in the Star Wars universe. Hats off. She deserves it. Put her in the signature. Leave her in the signature. Going forward, when Obi-Wan comes out, when what's the one that's going to be based on the Rogue One character? Any Star Wars property from here on out, leave that helmet in there. And pay tribute to Ming-Na and her character and her. And I think that's a tip of the hat. Whoever made that decision, it's a tip of the hat of Ming-Na's amazing career in genre films and just as an actress, period. So I wanted to book it on that one. But JR, let us kind of bring us what you think of the show so far, and where do you think it's going, bro?
Really, really good. It's definitely this is what you have, right? And this is what I fucking love about the sci-fi genre is done fucking right? Going onward from first season Mandalorian, you giving a bunch of nerds what they want to do, and just not only that, but giving them their passion project as well as just money to do it, and it just continually progressing to something amazing, something awesome, something a little bit out there. Granted, like I did have some hesitation with some of the parts in there that we've seen, but at the same time, like they have built up so much good karma with me that I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see where this goes. This has to lead to somewhere, right? This has to lead to a point in time where this is gonna pay off, which hopefully we do see that payoff. Because like again, you give a bunch of nerds something they're super passionate about, something that they freaking love and they want to do, and you just really give them the money to do that. You get stuff like The Mandalorian, you get stuff like this book Boba Fett, you get stuff like Dune, right? And like it's great to see people who are super passionate about something that are really sticking to their guns and understanding the history of what they have and surrounding it, and they grew up with this stuff. They know how to implement the proper ways of really showcasing what the original creation or what the original creators wanted out of this particular IP, basically, right? And I freaking love that, man. So again, it's in great hands. I want to see exactly what they're going to do going forward. I want to see General Thrawn. I want to see people coming up from Rebels coming into live action. I want to see my girl Ahsoka, seeing where she goes. Seeing where she goes. If she tries to rescue the Rebels cast. I want to see freaking more Mandalorians. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm super excited by the future here, and like it's just super ongoing. It's super fluid, and like this is what you do correctly when you want to quote unquote seen as like the inclusive the inclusive ways of wanting to show more representation. You do it through story. You do it through solid story with a history that can back it. And you do it methodically. You do it where it makes fucking sense. Like we have Ming Na Wen's character, right? Is amazing, absolutely fucking amazing. She is more on point with Boba. She it's not even though for quite a while it does look like Boba's the main and then Fennec's there. No man, they're on even platform. Boba Fett can't run this series or he can't run the Empire without Ming-Na, without Fennec.
Without Fennec
They're one-on-one. Perfect. And so like just having a Samoan main lead and an Asian actress second lead is a shit I fucking live for. And I'm happy for it, dude. So yeah, like continuing onwards, can't wait to see Dr. Aphra. Can't see what they do with more characters that go out the Star Wars universe. What is the possibility you're looking for? Is this going to be adopted into more of the mainline possible new trilogies that are coming out eventually? Is Catherine Kennedy finally gonna fucking calm down and understand that all right, cool, maybe we need to look at like actually accepting the fans that have been really sticking with us and doing right by them rather than going on trends. Yeah, because like this is what happens, man. You get a bunch of people that are just super excited to want to come and work, and so it's amazing. I fucking love it, dude.
And we talked about this in regards to. I've had this conversation with a couple people about the Marvel shows with on Disney Plus and how well they've been received. And after seeing what happened with Eternals, people are going like, maybe Eternals should have been a Disney Plus show, could have been a mini series.
Mm-hmm.
That's an argument for another day. But I'm like, the more I watch these shows, the more I watch shows like Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Yeah.
The more I watch WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye, the trailer for freaking Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Do I even want to watch movies anymore? Can we just do Disney Plus shows from here on out? They're so good. And, I like that Kathleen Kennedy is kind of taken a back seat a little bit from a creative standpoint. She's allowed Favreau and Filoni to kind of run the creative for Star Wars now, period. It's been known now that though she is the president of Lucasfilms, she greenlights everything. Her passion project with, oh my gosh, I can't think of the lady's name who was the director for Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That their passion project was doing Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
Which I know is kind of on hiatus right now, but that even then, Kathleen Kennedy was like, I'll just write the check.
Yeah.
You just tell me where to send it. I'll write the check. Yeah. She gets it now.
Good.
And a lot of these ideas are coming from the guys that have been there. A Dave Filoni, who's been working with Lucasfilms for 2 decades, who created, I know technically Lucas did, but created Clone Wars, that created Rebels, that really created Bad Batch, that created all the animated shows. And now you look at him, he's basically it in The Mandalorian and in Boba Fett. So I'm right there with JR. I can't wait for the sandbox to continue to grow. I think we're going to see Dr. Aphra. I think we're definitely going to see General Thrawn either in Ahsoka or in Mandalorian season 3 and season 4.
Yep. Hey, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
You want to hear my hot take of the of the month or the week right now?
Go right ahead. I think this would be a perfect way to book in. By the way, guys, comment below. What did you think of Book of Boba Fett episodes 1 through 4? Let us know. By the way, next episode, a little review after the season finale on February 9th. So be looking for that. But JR, hot take of the week.
So I watched the Eternals recently.
Okay.
Just as bad as convoluted as Batman versus Superman. Just as bad and convoluted as Batman versus Superman. You're trying to do too much in one fucking story. 7 fucking origin stories to make sense of everything. I don't give a fuck who died. I gave a fuck who died because I read the comics, but at the same time, I don't give a fuck who died. You have all these. I'm getting sick and fucking tired of these. Everyone fucking cries. Every scene, everyone cries. Just, if you are a being that has seen quite literally 6,000 years of death, know your fucking role.
Yeah.
It's so absolutely dumb that they didn't make this into a Disney Plus show.
Yeah, I've watched it now. I watched it in the theater, enjoyed it. Was it great? No. Was it bad? No. Watched it at home with my wife, who saw it for the first time. Said the same thing. It's a bit long. We had to watch it in 3 parts over the weekend. Part of it was finding time. We were cleaning house, trying to break down Christmas.
The best parts of the movie is the cinematography shots.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I don't want to talk about the death because it just came out on digital, so a lot of people are seeing it for the first time. So we're going to wait a bit. We are going to talk about Eternals. Yeah. It may be shorter than the movie. It may be longer than the movie. I think it's going to be shorter than the movie.
It's going to be shorter than the movie. It's so dumb.
But much like Batman versus Superman and the Dawn of Justice, which is a horrendous movie, if you cut out Lex Luthor. You cut out Lex Luthor from that movie, and even the Martha scene is not all that bad.
If you cut out, I'm gonna stand by this fucking quote. If you cut out Zack Snyder, it'd be a better movie. Because
I agree with you. I think Zack Snyder is he's better suited like Jon Favreau. And again, it's not a dig on Jon Favreau. I like Jon Favreau as a director. I think Iron Man was great. Iron Man 2 was a little weak. He had nothing to do with Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
But Zack Snyder he should have sat back because he's a good storyteller.
He's a better executive producer.
I think he would have been made better a producer. However, I say that he produced Wonder Woman, and some of the stuff that I hated about Wonder Woman, it was because of him. Let us know in the comments below what you guys thought about JR's hot take, and I think that might end up in the trailer for this week.
You had a fucking child go in circles, going up with bats flying around him, and said, "Oh yeah, that was a dream." No, motherfucker, you depicted that as real life. That looked fucking stupid. You get Batman to kill 15 people and say, "Oh, he's a good guy," when historically Batman killing people is like one of the most atrocious things you could do. You have this edgy, I'm gonna go on a fucking thing. You have edgy fucking Superman, which is basically New 52 Superman, which we all fucking hated.
We did have an earthquake about it. We did have an earthquake about an hour ago.
No, that was me rumbling. That was me being pissed the fuck off because I just remember the atrocities that Zack Snyder put to the DC universe, and people are gonna say, "Oh no, Zack Snyder is the greatest." Motherfucker, you fell in love with 300. You didn't fall in love with DC characters.
No, you fell in love with 300 in DC form.
I will say Zack Snyder's cinematic shots that lead fucking nowhere. Thank you, Aquaman shots of Justice League Snyder cut. I'm gonna look awesome on top of this boat. I'm gonna set you down on this table and then look awesome again. Go enough. Like it's the DC's doing much better now. Without his fucking thing, and that's beyond the whole bullshit of what's going on behind the scenes with DC. I know it's going to be another thing. I'm sorry again, guys, but
we will get. That's a whole another episode of what's going on with DC.
I'm sick and tired of these Snyder fucking fanboys thinking that like, oh my god, it's the greatest fucking thing. Do y'all not fucking remember Christopher Nolan? Like, is that not a thing? You do not remember the fact that Joker is the only movie that has won a fucking Academy?
They honestly, DC? When they go to reboot the Justice League and go reboot the DCEU, Christopher Nolan should knock on the doors and go,
"He's your Favreau."
No, hello, motherfuckers. and just take over.
He's your Favreau. He's your Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
He's everything that you need. You bring in Zack Snyder as possibly cinematography director or art director or all that stuff. You need to understand roles. They gave that man everything. I've been ramping on this over time. I'm sorry, guys. If you want to hear more of my freaking takes or my
also not
issues.
Jared Comics 42 on Instagram. Hit him up, DM him. His DMs are officially open from here on out. We will talk about it. We could talk about it till we're blue in the face about Zack Snyder. Go back into the archives and check out over. And I'm going to start slowly moving some of the videos over. Go check out our archives. Search out Voice of Reason 23 on YouTube, or go through our audio format and find our review of the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, which we both liked. But this is the Book of Boba Fett. Enjoy the series. We will be back after episodes after episodes 5, 6, and 7 have aired. Now, mind you, I'm going to give you guys I'm going to leave you with this little tidbit. So February 9th is tentatively slated to be the final episode of Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
March 30th is the premiere date for Moon Knight. There is exactly 6 weeks between Moon Knight and Book of Boba Fett. Now, between What If and Hawkeye on Disney Plus, there was a gap. There was about a month or so gap. Nothing aired, at least not between Lucasfilms and Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
But 6 weeks, do we get something maybe? Do we not? I don't know. I think we're just going to get assembled. I think we're just going to get the makings up, because they do owe us assembled for Hawkeye, Eternals, and I don't think they're going to do an assembled for Spider-Man No Way Home. But anyways, guys, go ahead.
Sorry, enough on a horrible note, in the sense, because you just brought up Moon Knight. No. This is actually much more serious. Sorry, enough on a horrible note, guys. Because when you brought up Moon Knight, I remember reminded of the fact that the French actor who plays a titular character in Moon Knight, his name is Gaspard Ulliel. He actually passed away today. He was in a skiing accident, and he passed away sadly through his injuries. And so Rob, that rest in peace.
Yes.
Hopefully, a lot of thoughts and good positivity going to his family. But yeah.
We don't know much about the character. I know that the Hollywood Reporter released who the character was. I mean, he had a name. The character had a name. It wasn't like third actor from the right in the red shirt. I mean, this guy had a character name.
Yeah.
So not to make business of his death, but you know what's going to happen. So we'll find out. We'll talk about that maybe as more comes out. But terrible news. Young man too. What was he? 27 or something?
No, he's 37. He's a little bit older.
Yeah. But no, terrible news. And again, our condolences to his family. Again, not to segue into self-promotion, but we do need to wrap this up. I am at Voice of Reason 23, Kevin Pillow. He is also not Jared Comics 42 on Instagram only right now. He is building his Facebook page and his Twitter. Just give him some time. He wants to make it perfect. He has Jared Kambakungan, the Dark King, aka DK. And buddy, it's been a good one. I'm enjoying Book of Boba Fett. We will see you sometime later this week for a full episode where we will talk about mergers and acquisitions and maybe more Zack Snyder. As always, be a decent human being. Don't forget, you can go online right now and get free N95 masks from your federal government and free in-home COVID test. Be safe. Be nice to your human beings. Wear your damn masks. And I thought that was something was killing the children mask.
Oh, I actually have that too.
I thought you had one.
Yeah, I do. I don't know where I put it.
Be a decent human being. Wear your damn mask, and as always, peace.
Dominate humbly. Oh, it's
I love that. That's actually pretty bad. That's right there. Dominate
I love it.
Humbly. Mic drop. JR
said an arrogant mask. I used to go to the gym. It's a very arrogant looking mask, but yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, love each other.
Have a good one, man.